So last week we spoke about the underwater volcano that erupted in Tonga, causing some tsunamis to wreak havoc on the islands there. This week I found some amazing satellite imagery. Check this out, Linz. This is before. Looks
like a foot.
And that's after. So you can check a bit of a close up here of all the houses and stuff that were here. And then afterwards, just complete decimation of the islands.
Oh, shame.
Everything's also covered in ash because of the volcanic ash. This was quite hectic.
So, what support have they received so far?
So far, the British and Australian navies have sent a ship each, carrying first aid kits. They've got water, they've got sanitation products, and that's all been sent through there. However, Tonga has really strict COVID measures in place for any people wanting to get into Tonga. You have to quarantine for 3 weeks. So that's obviously not going to be very useful in a time of crisis.
Yeah.
Because they're so strict, they obviously couldn't have any contact with people in Tonga. So when the supplies arrived, they had to offload everything via cranes. Nobody got off the ships. It was like a completely proper social distancing effort that the guys had done.
Why are they so strict? It seems a little bit excessive.
Well, did you know that Tonga has only had one positive COVID case since the beginning of the pandemic?
Jeez.
Yeah, and 60% of the population is vaccinated.
Okay, well, that's good.
The government even made an Australian plane that was supposed to come earlier, carrying supplies for the relief effort, made them turn around mid-flight because one of the crew members tested positive for COVID. Yeah.
Wow, okay, so how many people have died from the volcano explosion?
So unfortunately 3 people died in that disaster. And that's why the government fears that if people bring COVID into the land, it's going to cause more harm and more damage to the small nation.
Your brother Mix mentioned something about a shark sighting at False Bay.
There are actually quite a few shark sightings at False Bay. Obviously, False Bay is home to the real Seal Island, which is a breeding ground for great white sharks. And last week, there was some really cool drone footage of a shark sighting at Cottage. Check this out, Dan.
I hate sharks.
This one.
Why? Why are they still in the water?
They probably haven't seen the shark.
Oh my word, it's coming closer.
Particularly if people have been swimming in it.
I know.
Yeah.
Oh my word, that is ridiculously close. How long did it take them to figure out there's a shark?
I don't know if they did find it. It didn't attack anybody, which is
it
good. Yeah. It's literally swimming right up to these people. That's a cool way.
It's catching a wave.
It does actually look like it catches a wave, which is quite interesting.
Nope. No, thank you. Don't like sharks. Don't trust the ocean. I don't go very deep. No. Nope. Did you see the shipwreck that finally washed out there in front of the 12 apostles?
I did indeed. And I haven't. Show me. This is an amazing video by Luke Bell. Really cool FPV drone footage. Jealous. So the Antipolis is a shipwreck that sank there in 1977. It was being towed to Greece for scrap, and being the Cape of Storms, there was bad weather. It broke free from the tugboat and that was towing it, and it ended up sinking off the coast of the 12 apostles there. And yeah, now with this heavy weather that came through, the heavy waves pushed and swells pushed that part of that wreck up onto the rocks. It was a very popular diving spot for scuba divers. Huge crayfish there apparently, so I've been told. As we're all aware, tourism has been decimated by this pandemic around the world. But just to put it in numbers, for South Africa, between January and November 2021, 85% less people have come through our borders. And what does that look like? So in 2019, we would average around 2 million visitors from around the world. And 2021, only 330,000 people came through.
That's ridiculous. Last year when we travelled around the country, it was so sad seeing all the small places closing down because they're relying on tourism. It's just taken such a big knock.
Hopefully now with all the travel bans that have been lifted, there are still a lot of restrictions out there, but it does seem that most countries are lifting those bans, that we can get those numbers up again. Just also in that 2021 period from Jan to November, normally the UK is at the top. They send about 30% of all tourists that travel to South Africa. But for last year, obviously those hectic, strict bans that were in place from the UK, the USA had the most visitors coming to South Africa. So well done, America. You win.
Number one.
Yeah, number one in the world. How's this for incredible, Lynn? Last week, a Kenyan guy stowed away in an aeroplane from the aeroplane was traveling from South Africa to the Netherlands and survived. And he survived in the wheel compartment of the aeroplane.
That sounds impossible.
It's not impossible, but very rare that somebody will survive. The headlines are also a bit misleading. Yes, the plane was flying from South Africa to the Netherlands. However, it did a stopover in Nairobi, and from Nairobi to Amsterdam is still 8.5 hours, so it's still a long time up in the air. And it's still incredible that this guy survived.
So, Mr. Medic, what are the risks for a person who does something like this?
Death is a huge risk. If you manage to survive, you're very lucky because, first of all, the oxygen levels at that height, there's as little as 25% oxygen available.
Jeez.
The second thing you have to combat is the temperatures. Also, the higher you go, the colder it gets, and sometimes those temperatures can get less than 30 degrees Celsius. So that guy sustained temperatures of, I think, up to minus 25 degrees Celsius and those low oxygen levels, still survived. He's in hospital now. He's talking, and he's now seeking asylum in the Netherlands.
How incredibly warm was it this week in Cape Town?
It was flippin' hot. Yeah. And of course, every Cape Townian had to let everyone know on social media by posting photos of their thermometers, just in case nobody believed it. So Boulders Beach in Simonstown was closed because it reached maximum capacity. People just flooded out to this deep south just to try and find some empty space on the beach. Obviously, a lot of people didn't find that empty space.
Yeah.
And I also found some really cool footage of those big waves that were at Sunset Reef in Kommetjie. A rad page by Tim Eccles. I'll share that on here. And yeah, we just got some really awesome footage of those surfers being towed in, which was lekker.
Okay, that's cool. Well, I'm glad that we went to my mom for that weekend in Baardskeerdersbos because the weather was much better on that side. Our house has 0 aircon and it is about 10 degrees hotter inside than outside. It is like living in an oven. Unbearable. Unbearable. Also, the sunset on the Friday night at Baardskeerdersbos was absolutely beautiful.
I feel like it's so hot here that Olivia's going to be born with a tan.
Oh, this is true. And now they're mentioning that February is going to be hotter than January.
Oh my word, that is not possible. Stephen, we need some aircons, please. So, Lynn, would you recommend Baardskeerdersbos as a destination?
Definitely. There's a few things that I would highly recommend.
Mm-hmm.
One is definitely going to Mariki's pub for their incredible breakfast. It is amazing. Draai roomys in Franskraal just before you get to Baardskeerdersbos. If you have patience, you can get your draai roomys and go and eat it at the beach. Usually I eat it before I even get to the beach. You can go to Pearly Beach for the sunset. Also really beautiful. Some nice little sand dunes there.
We got some really cool footage the last time we were there. That was special.
You can do horse riding there, but I would not recommend doing the horse riding after a Mariki's breakfast because I nearly lost a finger. Right, went off.
Oh, nice. Baardskeerdersbos also has resident artists there, beautiful art community, and they have regular art shows. You walk through the town, you can go into the artists' homes where they are exhibiting their artworks. It's quite a cool experience.
So what's happening with COVID this week?
I found a really cool resource as well for my COVID stats, which is quite lekker. It's a website called Our World in Data, and they create charts. Check it out. This is just a page that I've loaded already. You can custom make your graphs. So here I've selected the countries on the side that I want to compare. Cases.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
What's that?
So this big one here, this line is United States. So I'll go over to the last data point. So the United States is on 651,000. France is on 366,000 a day. South Africa right down at the bottom at 3,000.
We're not doing too bad.
So yeah, and if you look a bit closer, you can see that the United States is coming down. Looks like their peak has ended. France, however, is on the way up. Germany is on the way up. The UK has come down. So yeah, if you look at the deaths though, unfortunately the United States is on the way up. France is also on the way up. United Kingdom again plateauing out. Germany on the way down. South Africa is sort of plateauing at the moment. Linda and I were recording a whole segment now, and the camera battery died. So what we wanted to tell you was that we have a freaking rad dynamic deal in the Eastern Cape, a place called Kenton-on-Sea. It's a cottage on the riverside. It's called the River Cottage. 2 people, 2 nights, 1,800 rand, flippin' rad.
Bargain.
It's a bargain, definitely. If you want to hire a paddle boat, you get 50% discount from us.
Or if you want to have a spa treatment after the whole paddle boat experience, we also have some nice discounts there, so be sure to contact us.
So it's our crazy groupies in the background here, causing chaos. Lekker. Now everyone thinks you got fleas, peanut butter. Stop it. Hey, don't lick yourself.
Idiot.
Yeah. Yes, you can, if you're interested in that dynamic deal, message us, WhatsApp us, email us.
Call us, anything.
So from us, that's it for this week, and hopefully we can bring you some more news next week.
Okay. Bye.